Incubator Limited, and I know it's an enterprise arm of Stanbic Bank that helps support young people, their innovations and their enterprises, and we are very happy to have him here. I also went to the same school with him so for my O-level education, and I know he's leaving tonight this evening to go and prepare for our celebrations of the 111th year as a school. So let's put our hands together and welcome Comrade Tony Otoa. Just keep clapping till he gets here.
morning. Do I need to use a microphone? Or you can hear me? Okay, habari mulimutia. Bite. Now that's where I stop. But good morning, everyone, and I'm very excited to be here with you. My name is Tony Otoa, like has been mentioned by. Because of the live streaming. Okay, my name is Tony Otoa, as I've been introduced by my very dear brother Nathan. I am very excited to be here once again. I am becoming a very, very close friend of the whole academy, but also it's very interesting to see amazing young faces here. Now, I have a complaint, and this complaint was raised as soon as I got in. I told Nathan I was not happy, and he asked me why. And I said, why do you invite me for the morning session, which is very serious, and yet in the evening I'm seeing going to the beach, you know, fun stories, and I missed out on the comedy night. So I don't know whether Nathan only thinks I'm a serious guy or I also enjoy myself. But I'm excited to be here. And number two, ignore my gray hair. I'm still youthful. So whatever I speak will, I hope, resonate with you. But I'm excited to be here. And again, looking at young people, you know, from all over the country, all over the continent. Shikamo, my brother. It's always interesting. I'm always in Tanzania, and every time I'm in Tanzania, I try to polish my very bad Ugandan Swahili with the real Swahili. And I think it's great to see East Africa come together for this very interesting event. I came with a very interesting brother of mine. Jenkins is at the back. He's a very interesting guy when it comes to digital and marketing and all of that. And he wanted to find out what youth are having in terms of conversation. So I brought him along, and he's here with me to, you know, share the lighter moment for the morning. Now, I know I'm not in a t-shirt, and you must be wondering why I am too formal like Uncle. Entrepreneurship, and again, I want to try and make it as interesting and, you know, a conversation between all of us. So it's not a presentation per se, it's going to be a conversation. And I hope that by the time we finish, by the time we are done with me speaking, it's something that we can all go back and reflect. Now, a bit of my background, I am a certified hustler for the Kenyans. I know you are now all hustlers because of your president, but I am a hustler in the sense that I love business, I love making money, I love entrepreneurship. I was a town boy before I got into university. I, in fact, took forever to get into university. I went to university at the age of 28, when most people would consider that an expired age. But I decided I wanted to make money. I was an entrepreneur. I worked as a town boy. How many of you know what a town boy does? Okay, I was a town boy on a truck. So the guy who helps the driver, the guy who puts the tundubale, the guy who repairs the tire or pushes the truck when it has stalled. And I decided to move to the UK, where I was illegal. And while I was illegal, I worked in the kitchen. So while in the kitchen, I cooked. And for many of you who follow my social media statuses, you will see me roasting a lot of the time. It is a skill I love, the skill I love doing. And when you invite me to your party, rest assured I will chase away the guy doing Muchomo to take over the place. So that is what I love doing. But I decided to go back to university just to, one, make my father happy. You know, parents are always not happy when their children haven't pursued what they want them to pursue. But also, two, to try and do something that made or created meaning and purpose for me in my journey of life. Along the way, I decided then to venture into more of entrepreneurship. Came back to Uganda, set up a company, and of course worked in the oil and gas sector. I have worked in the oil and gas sector for the last 10 years, leading on the local content conversations. And again, that's the reason why I'm always in Tanzania, supporting with the ECOP story, which I think you're familiar with, the pipeline story. And I have done that for years. And right now, I am the chief executive of the Stanbic Business Incubator, which is a subsidiary of the Stanbic Holdings in Uganda. We have the bank, we have the incubator, we have the properties company, and Infra Fintech company. I have been in this process as well, setting up entrepreneurship hubs. I've done one in Kenya, which is the Stanbic Foundation, and of course, they recently set up one in Tanzania, which was set up about a month ago. So, entrepreneurship is a very interesting topic for me, and when we talk about resilience, it's another very interesting one because the last 2 years were crazy. Who never suffered in the last 2 years? Put up your hand. It's okay to suffer, by the way, yeah. It's okay to suffer. But the last 2 years were crazy. And for most entrepreneurs, it was unprecedented. Can you imagine setting up a business, you have set up a small boutique, you have set up a small travel company, and boom, you're told to stay at home. Mr. Ojoka and the wife, I don't know where she is, if she's in the room. I don't know, were you looking at yourselves all the time, 24 hours? Yeah, you needed a break, right? But you see, it was a strenuous time, not just for families, but for businesses. And for young entrepreneurs, it was difficult. Very difficult. I remember we had just started a youth program, a youth entrepreneurship program with the French Embassy. Great money, great grants for the young people, but the young people still had no way of utilizing that money because they were stuck at home. So they had to innovate. So my conversation today is going to be on resilience, and my question to you is, are you resilient enough? So it's going to be a quick presentation, which is going to also try and be, like I said, engaging, and I hope that by the time we get out of here, we have really gotten as much as we can from this. So let's just go through this. You to give your lives a best shot. We're going to talk about being bold. We're going to talk about going through resilience, or what it means to be resilient as young people. And again, forgive me if I don't delve so much into business, but at the end of the day, it's going to resonate with business, and it's also going to resonate with you. So, this picture for me is very interesting. And you know why it's very interesting is because a lot of people see you as a successful person and they see you at the top, right? It was like, oh, you guy, I'm a bigger you did. Oh, the guy is really good. He has really achieved what he wanted to achieve, right? But they don't see the hurdles, the blood, the sweat that you have gone through to get to that top. And you know, interestingly, the people like the guy down there say, this is too easy. He hasn't tried it, but he'll always say, this is too easy. Now, you see, when you're a young entrepreneur, it's not easy. One, you're competing with people who are 10, 20 years ahead of you. You're getting into industries or sectors that you have no clue about, and you are learning on the job or learning on the road. But what people see when you succeed is your success. They do not understand that behind it has been a lot of struggle and a lot of work put in. So today, allow me to go very much into resilience. And I'm going to borrow a lot of what I shared with the presentation that I made to Uganda Brewery's staff, the sales team. And again, excitingly or interestingly, this was also done in this very hotel. And in trying to tell them about being resilient and being bold, we say it all begins with you as an individual. You as an individual. As much as you want to do anything, whatever you want to do, it begins with you. You. And this, for me, is a very interesting one. So I'm going to just go through a few words here. And of course, the biggest ones, or the foundations, being bold, progressive, and connected. Okay? Bold, progressive, connected. Let's begin with bold. What makes you bold, or how do you become bold? It's very important for you to understand that, number one, authenticity. How authentic are you as an individual? When you show up, are you showing up because you're copying someone else's style, or you are being you? Because at the end of the day, just like a thumbprint or a fingerprint, we are all individuals in our own way. And that's the beauty about it. What makes us special, what makes us different, what makes us great is our individuality, and that's what we bring onto the table. You have young people coming in from Sudan, you have people coming in from Kenya, Tanzania. That difference comes and creates an amazing metal or melting pot. And that's what we should be talking about, authenticity. How authentic are you? When you talk, do you talk copying or mimicking someone else, or you are trying to be the best you are or who you are to try and differentiate yourself from everyone? There's a very interesting saying that says, everyone is taken, just be yourself. You've heard it? Everyone is taken, just be yourself. So, being bold will necessitate you to be authentic. Number two, clarity. Clarity. You see, when you know what road will take you, you know what road won't take you. When you're sure of what to do, you know what you know, or you know what you shouldn't do. Clarity. The reason why many young people, entrepreneurs especially, are messing up and going into one thing and the next moment they're saying they want to do another thing is because they are failing to get the idea of clarity sorted. Clarity. Very important. Now, coupled with clarity is being confident. Confident people always stand out. Confident people are always bold. Confident people show up. And I will talk about a very interesting confident personality that I like talking about in the Bible. But that's, of course, David and Goliath. Number two is being progressive. Being progressive. You've been here for 3 days. What ideas are you going to take home? What concepts, what new ways of thinking are you going to take home? How progressive are you in how you think about life and situations or your businesses when you go back to your places or your homes? You see, being progressive needs you to think different. It needs you to constantly think new things. It needs you to innovate, to think beyond what people think, to create extra time in your 24 hours to be different. What do you do in your 24 hours? Do you wake up at 8 o'clock and sleep at 10 and you assume that the whole world is doing the same? Or do you carve in some time, like the 5 a.m. club, and wake up at 5 and at least maximize those 3 hours before the whole world is awake? What makes you different? There's a story that was told of a very interesting speaker. I love him. He's a motivational speaker. He speaks about this young guy who wanted to be successful like this guru. And he was like, Guru, you made so much money, you're a great guy and everything. I want to be like you. The guru said, oh yeah, you want to be like me? He said, yeah, I want to be like you. He said, okay, fine. Tomorrow morning, meet me at 5 a.m. on the beach. This guy laughs. He says, "But you guy, Guru, I want to be rich. I'm not planning to be at the beach at 5. I want to be rich like you. You know, come to the beach at 5. At 5, the young guy goes to the beach, and when he goes to the beach, the Guru tells him, well, take off your clothes and come with me to the water. The guy says, boss, the water is cold. Are you out of your mind, or what's going on? The water is cold, boss. I said, no, come with me. Takes off his clothes, shivers, walks in. And as he walks, the Guru keeps walking into the water until he's submerged. And this young guy sees himself dying and he says, boss, I think this is where I can stop. And runs out of the water. And the Guru comes out and asks him, you want to be rich like me? The guy says, yes. But the thing is, you don't even have an ounce of trust in yourself to do crazy bold things, and yet you want to be like me? Because you see, a lot of the time we admire great entrepreneurs, right? We want to be like the Steve Jobs. We want to be like all these guys who have done amazing things. And yet we do not want to put in the work. To be resilient, you have to put in the work. You have to show up. You have to do what it takes to be like what you want to be, or to be where you want to be, or to go to where you want to be. So, learning from lessons is going to be very interesting and important, but also wisdom. How much are you learning from the people around you? What are you using your social media for? Are you using it for violence? Violence in your one. Oh, when someone says you even remove a violence meme, you say, I have. There's a meme which has a guy carrying benches or chairs and a bottle of water to sit and watch what's happening. Violence. Are you using social media for violence, or you're using it to actually learn from great people? Because there's so many amazing personalities on social media. The things they tweet about, they write about, or talk about. Amazing stuff that you're thinking, wow, some of these things you can't easily get off the street. Or if you actually wanted to hire that person to get that knowledge, you have to pay. But here you have a free platform, and as soon as you wake up in the morning, violence, you go, where's violence? So wisdom is a very important aspect. But also coupled to that is being accommodating. Understanding people for their different views. And you know what I like about Cornerstone, and I think I've said this before, the fact that you have Muslims here, you have people of different faiths, coming together for one common good, that's accommodating. That's accommodating. You see, we live in a world where people are so biased with their ideas and opinions that they think what they know or what they believe in is the final thing. And because of that, you do not give people an opportunity to express themselves. You see what's happening right now. I was listening to the BBC News yesterday where Afghanistan is now struggling with its economy, and it's because the women who were very much part of the economy before have been told to stay home, so they can't work. And because they can't work, the economy has dropped by, or the women's contribution has dropped by close to 12%. Now, when you're in a situation or a society like that, that's not accommodating. That's not that is not progressive at all. So being progressive is about being accommodating. I always say, and I tweeted this a couple of days ago, one of the highest forms of maturity is for you to change your mind when you are offered or shown a different opinion which is actually correct. You know, some people who get a different opinion which is correct and still stay in their areas and say, no, okay, it is correct, but for me, I know. You know those kind of people? There are many of them around us. But maturity means you look at an idea, it conflicts with yours, but it makes more sense than yours, and you accept that it's okay to change your mind. It doesn't make you weak, no. It in fact makes you stronger, because you have two sides of the coin. The reason why we're struggling with our politics today, and the reason why we're struggling with our whatever society today, is because we have people who are stuck to their own opinions and assume that that's not the opinions of others. As a business person, as young people, for you to be resilient, you have to be accommodating. New ideas will come up. Maybe your business was flourishing before COVID, and today it's not. Maybe you should go online, but you're still the guy who says, what's the point of buying bundles? Maybe you should be looking for your customer door to door, but you're like, how will they see me looking for that guy? Some of these things necessitate you to accept the fact and be accommodating. So use facts to be accommodating. And finally, be connected. No business or no person is an island. But you are so busy these days. Our biggest thing is we want to compete with one another. When I see Nathan with the best shop that sells phones, I also go and put another phone next to him that sells phones, and I'm competing with him. Truth is, you're probably going to fail and actually be worse off than Nathan. And yet, if you were progressive in the sense that, or connected in the sense that you can actually provide items that supplement what he's selling, it's a win-win for everyone. What we have seen over the last few years with the COVID situation is that young people have now come together to team up to do things together. We have tourism as one of those major sectors that we promote as a business, and the young people have formed an association where instead of going with 5 travelers, they come together as 20 service providers and provide packages for 100 people at the same time. Imagine how everyone benefits from that. It's more fun, it's more merrier, good numbers, and you're making more money. But also, you're learning from each other. So the guys who are creating mistakes, you can see them. The guys who are doing the great things, you can learn from them. And all of these things just show that no man is an island. No man is an island. If you want to be an island or you want to eat alone, you know, we always say this in the business world, if you want to eat alone, you will choke and you will die alone. And no one will come and save you. You know, when you lock yourself in a room and assume that you can eat alone, you will die alone. Now, just on that, before I get to the next slide, I just wanted to tell you a very interesting story from my high school. Nathan mentioned our high school. Our high school was a boys' school, or is a boys' school. And you know, in the boys' school, you have all types of characters. And we had this character called Godi. I won't mention his other name for purposes of safety, my own safety. He's a big guy now, you know, he's a big guy now. Godi was visited by his parents. And you know, parents bring a big cooler of rice, you know, pilau rice and all these things and whatever. And Godi, being true to himself, typical guy, didn't like to share. We go back to our dormitory, lights out, Godi goes under his bed or mattress to, you know, remove the rice container to start eating. And funny enough, he finds over 6 hands already in his container. He switches on the lights and there are 7 guys under the bed feasting on his food that he didn't want to share. But one story for me from that episode was, at the end of the day, as young people, it's important to share. It's important to, you know, come together and understand that by being on your own, you can't really, you know, survive. You have to work with one another. And that's again also the beauty of coming together in different countries. So, connectivity, very important. Cherish your networks. Your networks are your network. You guys are from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan. Cherish those networks. There are people or youth in Uganda who only have a network in Nigeria. For those who don't know, Nigeria is one of our suburbs. Or, you know, a person in Tanzania who has a network only in Kilindoni. Or, you know, you need to understand that your networks are your network. I looked at a guy, a politician, 2 weeks ago, say most jobs are not got, or most jobs are not actually given at proper interview sessions or where you have adverts in the papers. Most jobs actually come out of networks. Where a guy you're networking with says, oh, by the way, I have something that you could actually do very well. Why don't you come and support us with this? Your networks are your network. For any business or entrepreneurship or any entrepreneur, your networks are what are going to drive you. People do not buy your product. People buy the entrepreneur. The authenticity of the entrepreneur is what people buy. They don't buy the good because it's good or bad. They buy the entrepreneur because they believe in him. And because they believe in him, they believe in the product. People bought iPhones because of Steve Jobs. Because when he spoke, he was authentic about what he was trying to sell. What are you authentic about? When you approach your networks, what do your networks know you for? Do they know you as a person of kafuyo, confusion, or they know you as a productive person? So that's a very important thing. But also offer more to stay relevant. Offer more. You know, a lot of the time in life, we want to give. We don't rather want to get. But offer more. Offer more than you receive. You know, it was a very interesting business technique that I saw of a Kenyan guy on the streets. He was selling balls, and when a car approached him, he went to the car and told the guy, boss, I have balls for sale. The guy said, I'm not interested in balls today, I have no child. He said, no, you can buy it for your nephew or your... The guy said, boss, I am not buying any balls today. The guy said, no, you know what? Here's the ball, you take it. When you're ready, send me mobile money. This guy says, but this guy is crazy. I mean, how about the money? He said, no. You look like a guy I can trust. You send me the money, I can trust you. You know what happened? This guy called the guy up and said, boss, but you gave me the ball. Are you really serious? The guy said, you see, you give me one ball less to go home with. And also, I know you will pay. This guy bought a ball and bought a ball again, and now he refers people to buy balls from that very guy. That shows you how thinking outside the box is all about entrepreneurship, or entrepreneurship is about thinking outside the box, giving more than you receive. Our typical Ugandan thing is when someone walks into your business and doesn't give you the right price, you're like, you know what, just you don't have the money, come back next time, or don't come back at all. Yet some very interesting, shrewd businessmen like Indians will never leave money to go out of their shop. Because my friend, I'm telling you that is the price, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow them 50%, bring back 50% next time. And he will give you the product for 50%, and you will go back to the guy, and you know what? You will go back and go back and go back to the guy. So as an entrepreneur, you really need to think about what experience you're giving your customer. You know, today, in today's business world, the customer experience is number one. Number one. You can have the best item, but if your customer experience is bad, I can guarantee you that item will never fly. So that's a very interesting one. So for me, I'm going to really stop at saying you need to be bold, be brave, be courageous, be daring, gritty, intrepid, daredevil, audacious, and guts. Yeah? Have the drive in you to be something or someone that stands out. Now, this is another very interesting one. You know, a lot of the time, when people look at a door, they assume opportunity has closed on them. I know you're young people, you have probably tried to sell your products and you're getting no's and rejections, and it makes it difficult for you to go through. But what this picture here just shows that you will never break free if you don't change the way you see your world. It's a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing. Are people rejecting your product, or people rejecting you, or are people just rejecting how you're doing business? It's a mindset thing. Is it time to break that door, to knock it and take over, or is it time for you to keep lamenting and say, business, the business is not moving, we're struggling, we're struggling. You know how you ask people, how is business? They say, somehow. I don't even know what that means. but you've heard people say that, right? How is business? Somehow. It's just because you have failed to look at life differently, with a different mindset. So I implore you to do that today. Now just listen to this very nice young man, and I think you've seen all of this.
Ida, work hard for it.
Do you mind if we just reduce that a little bit, so just for clarity?
Ida, work hard for it. We do work hard for it. When me and my brother, we work hard for our stuff. It don't come easy. In life, you have to work. Ida, want for me to sharp up the ocean, or the fish up the ocean. And right now, we want for me to sharp. Take over everything. Strength, no weakness. Power, muscle. Have to have that mindset. So you're going to come in here and dominate. What you see? Oh, wow. No. Don't put yourself down. Don't leave yourself. Keep yourself up, and ready for any challenge that comes.
So, are you the shark or the fish in the ocean? You're the shark. So you have to show up. And you see the boy's attitude. You know, him and his brother. We come, and when we come to dominate. Not being average. You see, the worst thing in life is being average. Worst thing in life is being average, settling for average. You have to dominate. So it's a very important thing. Now, I'm going to show you a very interesting story. How many of you were born in 1992? Or before 1992? Okay, this is going to be a very interesting one for you, because for many of you who have grown up in the mobile phone era, you actually think mobile phones came yesterday. Mobile phones came way back. In my time, and even you can recall in our time, it was so cool to have a mobile phone and put it on your, in fact, you had to put it on your belt for people to see it. The only problem was that there are no people to call you, so sometimes you had to call yourself, or you tell a friend and say, bro, call me at midday, I will be around these people. And when a guy calls before midday, you're like, I told you midday, I'm not yet around the people. So, many of you who don't know much about mobile phones, the story I want to show you here is how, if as a business, You don't do the things I have talked about, being bold, innovating. If you just settle for average, the market can take over, and you will be taken over. In my time, and I think you recall we had Motorola and Nokia, they were the big brands. If you didn't have a Nokia, you had no place sitting with men. Today, I don't know if Nokia exists anywhere.
I still have one.
You still have one? The only man. Exactly. But the story of Nokia and the other brands like Motorola is quite interesting because these were crazy brands. But what happened? They relaxed. They settled. They were not resilient. And what happened? They failed. So just watch this. You see? But you know what is so interesting about that, and I guess you can see from the trends, you can be a big boy today, and tomorrow you're nothing. You're nothing. I always say, big brands are fallible. You can be a big brand, and tomorrow you are nothing. Nothing. The need for you to innovate, the need for you to know what works best for your customer, the need for you to know what works best for you, but most important of all, what the market needs is quite important. And as young entrepreneurs, when we're talking about resilience, you can see that all through the years, it's only the guys who were resilient enough to stay the ground who could hold on. So the optimum velocity of the optimum diagnostic, too many big words, but they mean nothing. And yet you can just simplify it with a small, useful idea. A lot of the time as young entrepreneurs, we want to rush and be the big boys in 1 month, 1 year, 2 years. And yet you could actually master your niche, your market, and still make the right amount of money to steer you forward. So it's very important for you to understand, sometimes having a big idea might be worthless. A small idea is probably the way to go. Now, I like this because it's a very, very interesting concept, the 80-20 concept. You know, over the last 2 years, what we have seen is that many businesses have been spending so much time or energy on 80% and only get back 20%. And yet, in reality, you can actually do 20% and get 80%. A very interesting principle. Now, I'm just going to play for you and then you can talk about it after. I might not be able to play this. Well, just give me a second.
If you work in sales, have you ever noticed that 80% of the business's sales come from just 20% of customers? Or that 80% of the work is done by 20% of people? Or maybe that 80% of customer service issues arise from 20% of customers? It turns out this is a well-documented phenomenon that occurs not just in business, but in nature. It's called the Pareto principle. Where the heck does it come from? And what does it mean? It all started with this dude, Italian economist Pareto. Pareto first noticed the 80-20 connection regarding real estate. Specifically, that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. Over time, it's morphed into a broader building. In many events and scenarios, roughly 80% of the effects are a result of 20% of the causes. Over the years, it's blown up. It's been used to describe everything from global income distribution to sports training regimens to healthcare. It's everywhere. 80% of writing and speech is 20% of words. People wear 20% of their clothes 80% of the time. It's even been boiled down to a formula for use in mathematics, which I didn't understand at all. So back to sales. As I mentioned, it often turns out to be the case that 80% of a business's sales volume is generated by 20% of its customer base. In other words, most businesses have a dedicated base of superfans who hold up the bottom line. Why is this so important? Because it opens the door to tap into an underutilized asset, your existing customers. You have the opportunity to turn many customers into 20%ers, whether that be through loyalty programs, customer advocacy, moments of delay, VIP perks. Think about how airlines offer miles programs that are extremely helpful to their most frequent customers. How popular drivers on apps like Uber or Lyft to get badges and certifications for great service over time. Even a punch card at your local deli is an example of how you can give something back to your most loyal customers. And in turn, get them excited about returning to your business and spending more money. So, if you're part of the 20% of people who watch 8% of this video, here's some advice. Next time you want to win more business without winning more customers, take a look at how your most loyal 20% can help you get the job done.
Okay, that's a very simple principle. 20% of what you do can actually get you 80%. A lot of the time, we focus a lot of our energy and resources, 80% of them, and get back just 20%. So again, I want you to take time to check out this principle here. I think it will also help you as entrepreneurs, if you have entrepreneurs in the room, to really understand that, again, you can make your business great and resilient. I'll just probably sum up, and as I come to a conclusion with a very interesting story here that we all talked about. I used this story at the last event where I spoke at Cornerstone. It's really about David and Goliath. Now, like I say, big brands can fall, right? As young entrepreneurs, you're going to find, the reason I like this story is that you can use it for so many situations. Resilience, networking, attitude, mindset, so many things. But I'll just use one very interesting one, which is really about being a young business that people kind of think you don't know what you know, but you can still go out and beat the big boys. You can still go out and be resilient, you can still go out and succeed and be great. That's what David was. The reason why I like this in the story, and the reason why I emphasize it all the time is, this is a young guy who goes onto a battlefield to check on his brothers and deliver some items to his brothers. And while he's there, he hears guys talking about this situation that has happened. And in a true networking manner, he listens in and asks questions, he's probing, he's trying to find out what's going on. And he's told about this huge giant who has been sent for the one-man battle opportunity. Now, many people would immediately dismiss David because he's just a farmboy or a husband or a shepherd. He was not anything serious for a fighter, because a fighter you have to have muscle and be strong with armor and all of that in those days. David goes up to the king and says, I want to take up this opportunity, boss. I think I can do it. King is like, this guy, this kid, what's wrong with him? Guy says, I can't do it. So what happens is the king says, okay, now we're going to put armor onto you. We're going to load you with helmets and all these things because you're going out to battle. It's a crazy thing. David, it is saying no to that armor because one, he said it would slow him down. He wasn't used to it. It is just like any entrepreneur being given ideas which are not fit for them. Someone telling you the best way to do this thing is by using this. And yet you know, deep down, what's best for you. And what does David do? Picks up some pebbles, throws them at this giant, and it is said they flew at close to 30 kilometers per hour. The giant had no way of surviving. He fell down. David did not only show how important it is to show up, because he showed up, but he also proved that whatever situation you are facing, however big, you can still face it and defeat it if you have the right armor, the right ammunition for it. Now, as young entrepreneurs, resilience will cause you to have the right ammunition, the right research, the right ideas for your business, the right networks for your business. And I'm hoping that as we conclude, you can actually take from a lot of what I said to go back and ask yourself, am I resilient enough? Because it also starts with you. It in fact starts with you. And when it comes from you, then it can show in your business. For any entrepreneur who has more than 2 staff, you know, your staff reflects the situation of the business of you. If you come in and you're gloomy, well, they will also know that the business is gloomy and will also be gloomy. Now you can imagine what attitude they will give your customers. It's a gloomy attitude, right? So it's very important for you to understand that. Now, let's just
I think the dark ugly truth about being your own boss is the fact that you have to have discipline. You have to have consistency. You have to show up when you don't want to. You have responsibilities that most people don't have when you're your own boss. There's nobody leading you. There's nobody encouraging you. You have to do it for yourself. And the dark ugly truth is most people lack the discipline to be their own bosses, which is why most businesses fail. They don't consistently show up and do the right things repeatedly and consistently, which causes failure in most cases. That's another dark, ugly truth about being your own boss. Failure is a part of the game. We don't want to fail. We don't want to lose. We don't want to be seen as somebody less than. But guess what? That's part of the game.
okay, discipline. Discipline. So as entrepreneurs, you must understand that resilience will require discipline. To stay the course, it will require discipline from you. And discipline is the cornerstone of anything that you want to do in life. They always say, you might be super talented, you might be super rich, but for as long as you lack discipline, you can only go as far. Character will take you places where wealth, knowledge will probably never take you. You know the story in the Bible of Joseph and his situation with the Pharaoh's wife, and also the story of Samuel and many other men in the Bible. Character made Joseph who he was. Discipline. A lot of the reasons why we're failing as a country or in our countries, or the reason why we're having so many problems is because of discipline. The discipline of our leaders, and I'm happy that we're all leaders here, but also the discipline that we take our lives through. And I hope that in our businesses, in our lives, we can espouse discipline. Finally, stop carrying old feelings into new experiences. COVID happened, it happened, guys. Yeah? It happened. Let's move on. Stop carrying old feelings into new situations. It happened, it happened. It's time to wake up, rise up, and show up. Remember, thinking about doing nothing takes more time than the time it actually takes to do it. I suffer from this too, procrastination. But why do we procrastinate as people? That shouldn't be the case. The greatest ideas are executed right there and then. So stop procrastinating and move on. And again, stop carrying old feelings into new situations. Finally, I want to end with this. The golden circle, the why, and this is taken from Simon Sinek. A very, very interesting concept. You're all entrepreneurs, but do you know why you are doing what you are doing? Or you are just doing the what? Because a lot of people and businesses deal with the what. Every organization on the planet knows what they do. If I ask you, what do you do? Say, I sell this, or I do this, or I do that. Everyone knows what they do. If now you go deeper to ask how they do it, people know how they do it. I know what I do, and I know how to do it. But when you ask them why they are doing it, they will tell you, it's a job I got. Or it's a gig I have. Am I right? And you see, the problem with not knowing your why is that you won't have the right passion or the passion to really make it worthwhile. And I've seen this in so many situations where you see people given jobs, great jobs, but they can't articulate those jobs. Why? Because they don't know why they're in that job. They probably just got there, nowadays we just say by the love of God. I know we're laughing, but it happens. But the why is a very significant part of anything you do. Why are you here? Why are you here? And again, that's something for you guys to reflect on. So, as young people, I'll leave you with this. Your why is a very important component of whatever you do. Your why is very crucial in whatever you do. And the moment you find your why, how you do it becomes easy, and what you do will be easy. Jesus knew why he was here. If you asked Jesus, or if anyone asked Jesus what he was about, or why he was about, he would tell you, he's just come to do one thing only. And again, just focus on one thing. You know what is interesting about the stories in the Bible? People were not doing so many things, They were doing one thing, right? Jesus came with one mission. Moses had one mission. Joshua, one mission. You want to sell shoes. Then you want to have an arcade. Then you want to have a consultancy. Then you spread yourself so thin that no one actually knows what you're good at. Just focus on one thing. You see, the world is too big for you to... You can focus on one thing, it fails, come back and do another. But don't do everything at the same time. You'll stretch yourself so thin. So the why is very important. Now, as I end, I just wanted to also encourage you guys, for the Ugandans especially, if you're here, to come and join us at our Ubuntu Leadership Safari Talks. It's a very interesting platform where young people engage with amazing mentors to talk about leadership. And we talk about leadership from an Ubuntu perspective, where we have the conversations of real African leadership conversations. I am because of you, you are because of me. We learn from each other. And let me just share with you a clip as I end from our last Ubuntu conversation.
Essentially, we have a common belief that it's in little things.
Sorry, I asked you just to increase the volume. So this was a lawyer, he is a lawyer, Daudi Mhanga, one of the best lawyers in the country. And he was our last guest.
Essentially, we have a common belief that it's in little things done repetitively, correctly by everybody that you achieve excellence, you transform society. So I'm here this evening because fundamentally I believe in the inspiration behind the Ubuntu Leadership Safari. I also think that the Ubuntu Leadership Safari is inspired insofar as if you just passed the title Ubuntu, humanity. It's the basic things that hold us together, that make us
who we are, what we are, how we are, humanity. And yet, so many times in our pursuit of all sorts of different goals, mostly selfish ones, we forget that the first thing that makes us is our humanity. And we forget how lonely anything would be if there was only us. You know, just think about the time that we would be doing that one in front of you. Hamas, I don't know what money, is it money that makes you excited? Is it cars? Is it, you know, whatever it might be that you like to collect. Imagine if you collected all of that and there was nobody to tell that, you know, I made some extra money, or I got a new cow, or my X, whatever success it is. If there was no one to tell about that success, how lonely it would be.
All right, so I'll just end with that. That was Dowling Panga speaking at our last event. So I'm just going to ask you guys, just as I conclude, to just do me a favor. When I mention some words, I just want you to say Tuko Pamoja, yes? For the Ugandans who are failing to understand Swahili, guys, East Africa is taking over. Kama mmeona watu wa Tanzania na Kenya wako hapa, nyinyi you're just there with Uganda. Now, I'm just going to ask you to say, Tuko what? Okay, African youth leadership. I don't feel the energy. You guys are like old people. African youth leadership. African youth leadership. African youth leadership. Sawa, thank you very much. Thank you.
Guys, I was still cramming the Tuko Pamoja thing and forgot I had to be here, so I'm back. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Tony Oto. I think I can now call you comrade since I work with Nathan and we are comrades, so now we are comrades. Thank you so much. For me, from his presentation, when he was saying, he was giving examples of the influential people and he was talking about Steve Jobs, and I thought he was now going to say Tony Otoa. I thought he was going to put himself in there as well, but oh well. I just want to reflect on one thing before we go into the question and answer session. Tony said, you can be a big deal now, and tomorrow you are nothing. We saw the different brands, we saw how big they are, and how they are nothing right now. And it just reminded me of my own life. I'm not saying I'm nothing now, but I'm just relating this for you. When I was guild president in 2018, 2019 at the Islamic University in Uganda female campus, I was a big deal. And now, how many years from 2018? I can tell you that life can humble you. But I'm joking, it did not humble me. So I just want to emphasize that in AYLF we have so many leaders. Just to relate it in our leadership lives, we have so many leaders. I believe we have so many presidents here and leaders from all over. And right now, you're the president, you're the big deal in your situation. Even in your life, you could be a big deal in someone's life. Maybe in your relationship, you're the big deal. But these things do not last forever if you do not invest in them, and if you're not making sure you're investing in that journey and even for time after that journey. So make sure as you're enjoying this leadership, this journey you're on, you're also doing things that are contributing to your life after that journey, because it definitely might not last forever. Yes, so we'll dive right into the question and answer session. But before that, I am told that we have a birthday boy in the building. So I would like us to sing for him before we just go into the question and answer session. So guys, let's just sing a birthday song for Baron, our MC. Baron, stand up. No water, guys, no water. Byron, just come forward. I think he's the tallest man in the building. He's competing with Uncle Tim.
Please drink your water.
Okay, guys, let's sing. Where is the energy? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy birthday, dear Baron. Happy birthday, dear Baron. Happy birthday, dear Baron. Happy birthday, dear Baron. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Baron. Happy birthday, Baron. We love you. Okay, so let's go into the question and answer session. I'll take just 2 questions from this side and 2 questions from this side. Baron, just help me.